The Chamber was surprised by an unexpectedly large crowd at Paulding County Community Center Thursday. Over 150 members and guests crowded into the hall to meet and greet as they normally do at the monthly Chamber luncheon. The extra-large crowd had come not for the camaraderie, but to hear details about the new $25 million airport local supporters hope to have operational by 2007. They were not disappointed. The crowd was welcomed by Chamber Chairman Ford Thigpen.
A large provider of jobs in our country, and each month we like to recognize a small business giant, people who run an extraordinary business and make an impact.
Our Small Business Giant Award goes this month to Sam Rambo, owner of Rambo Nursery. If you like, yes, please do.
Thanks a lot. Lavon said it, mostly said it all, but we've been here for almost 10 years, and I want to tell you it's been a great ride. We've had a lot of support from officials all over the county. To them, I say thank you very much. We've had the public support. We've had just everywhere we turn. It's just been a great move, and we've enjoyed being in the county, and are really looking forward to another prosperous many years.
The time we need today, I'm going to take the liberty of taking the networking sort of out of our agenda, because I want you to hear about this program that we're talking about called the General Aviation Airport. A bit about Calvin Thompson, who has accepted the chairmanship of the Paulding County Airport Authority, and there are days I think he likes me till we mention the thing about the chairmanship, and then I'm not so sure he likes me anymore. So we're glad he's here.
First, let's talk about a few benefits of an airport and the social benefits of it. And chief among these are the emergency medical help, law enforcement, disaster relief, and medevac, in which these are all vital links in airlifting injured people, flying to sick people that are so sick that they cannot go by land and they have to go by air. Years back, when my daughters were at W.C. Abney, I would put on air shows for the school, one-man air show at my little private airstrip at my farm. And out of that, two guys grew up to be, one's a Delta captain and one's an American captain. And how gratifying is that? And you know, out of 90% of all airline pilots, where they get started is general aviation airports like we're talking about here. Business prospects don't arrive in your town on a Greyhound bus, they arrive at the airport. A new Paulding County Airport could meet the growing needs that we have experienced in the metropolitan area of Atlanta. Let me stress that proposed airport would be a business and a private sector airstrip and not a commercial one. And, you know, there will be no airliners here. And believe you me, if there was going to be airliners, I would not be a part of this. Never, ever would I be a part of this. I want to keep it private and business. Initially, we have 12 aircraft that will be based at the airport within the first year on the return letters that we've received. The new county airport will be brought into the system as a level 2 airport, which will be 5,000 feet. And in the future, if it requires it, we'll update to a level 3, which will be 5,500 feet to accommodate a little faster business jet. According to Blake Swafford, our DOT director, who I'll introduce here in just a short, we have 23 aircraft registered in this county, 374 pilots in this county, which is a wonderful figure. And, you know, it's just, I didn't know that was that huge a number, but it's something to be reckoned with. But in Cobb County, there's 5,000 licensed pilots. And of some of these pilots, you know that we're going to get some of the hangar space, because Atlanta is so short on hangar space. And let me explain to you about hangar space. A hangar space is like a mini warehouse. Once you build it, it's over with. Then you just regain the investment. And for instance, on a corporate jet, that we're talking about, or a corporate King Air, the rent can be anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 a month revenue. And I would not be here today without full openness on this airport. I want to keep the media involved. I want to be honest about everything we decide to do. We don't want any clouded gray areas about this airport. And in that, I'm going to turn this thing over to a fella that has absolutely blown me away with his integrity and his character. And we're so blessed to have him.
Hello. I hate to even get up here and say anything after that introduction. It can only go downhill from here. What I want to tell you about today is just essentially the nuts and bolts of building an airport, what we have done to this point, and where we're going from here. This process started about 3 years after I was born in 1972. That's when the Paulding County Airport Authority was enacted by the Georgia State legislation. So this is not a new concept. This is nothing that popped up yesterday. And there have been several efforts in the last, 31 years to look at putting some type of airport in Paulding County. But I don't think that the county was ready for it. I don't think that we were to the point, development-wise, growth-wise, and as far as the citizens of Paulding County were concerned, we weren't ready for it yet. I do think that we are ready for it now. The business is here. The development is here. The future is here. So I think now is the time for this general aviation airport. The state, the FAA, they really support a new airport in this area. There's actually a hole in the general aviation system in the state of Georgia over Paulding County where we do not meet the service requirements of the state and of the Federal Aviation Administration. We are actually included in the Georgia State Aviation Plan. That is a new airport location for Paulding County has been proposed in the Georgia Aviation Plan for a number of years now in order to fill the hole in the service for general aviation in the state of Georgia. So we're included in that document. So we do have support on the state and on the federal level for building a general aviation airport in Georgia. We have been working on several studies over the last year to show the justification and the need for the airport, and we've also been working on a study to try to nail down the location of the airport. The feasibility study and the site selection study, as I mentioned, are complete and will be presented to the airport authority at the end of this month. Have shown not only the need for an airport, but also that there are multiple sites that would be appropriate for a general aviation airport. We have 3 sites right now. I think the handouts that are sitting on your tables actually show 4 sites, but you can take a pen and mark through site number, don't have it on me, site number 1. Thank you. Site number 1 has been disqualified as a potential site due to some conflicts with development and other incompatible land uses. I could go into a whole lot of detail as to the work plan for the airport. It will probably take us, just a couple more comments, it will probably take us about 1.5 years to acquire the property. It will probably take about 2 years to construct a general aviation airport. So we're probably looking at this airport not being open until around 2006, 2007. Could possibly be done a little bit quicker, maybe a little bit, may take a little bit longer than that. But currently that is the work program. And I'd like to reserve the rest of our time today just to answer questions.
On these properties, how are you going to avoid the price gouging with the land once people know you're going to buy their land?
That's a good question. And part of the process in selecting the sites was to take a look at what land is available and what land could possibly easily be acquired by the county. So the 3 sites that we're looking at, they primarily affect some large tract landowners. There are very, very few homes around any of these sites. We did make an exerted effort to stay away from people's homes, to stay away from subdivisions. So these are some large tracts of property that we think we could easily I say easily, that may not be the appropriate term, but we think it would be very feasible for us to negotiate acquisition of these large tracts. If it were such that there were a lot of smaller tracts or a lot of homes in the area, then we would be more concerned about that, but we're really not at this time. Saw another hand back over this way.
Where they have tentatively earmarked $1 million for this project, is that true?
That's correct. In a effort to try to get some federal funding and some federal support for the airport, we did take a trip up to Washington earlier in 2003. And at this time, we do have an earmark of $1 million for the airport. Now, that's just a drop in the bucket. That's some money, I guess, to get us started, so to speak. We'll probably use that money to complete some of the engineering plans that are required, and we'll probably use some of it to start acquiring some property. But this is probably a project that will run in the neighborhood of $25 million. Now, one thing that I failed to mention earlier that's extremely important point is that the Federal Aviation Administration funds 90% of the cost of an airport. So when you look at getting 90% of a $25 million project funded by the federal government, I don't know of any other types of projects at all that have that type of funding that comes from the federal government. It's extremely lucrative. Your return on your investment is tremendous. But with that being said, we've been planning all along on bringing in a private partner to probably take care of the 10% local match that would be required, and found out some fantastic news just a couple of days ago. The Federal Aviation Administration has actually changed their funding percentages, and as of this year, the FAA will be funding at a 95%. So the cost of doing this just got a whole lot cheaper, and the return on investment just got a whole lot better. So with a 95%, with the federal government paying for 95%, it's quite a good deal.